You know, when we picture the American legal system, we tend to think of it as just one thing, justice for all. But what if I told you that's not really the case? The reality is, America doesn't have one legal system. It has two, and they might as well be on different planets. And now, a powerful new force, technology, is stepping into the ring, and it's promising to change absolutely everything. So let's break down what's really going on here.
All right, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll unpack the two tiers of justice that define the legal world. Then, we'll see what happens when tech crashes the party. After that, we'll dive into the pretty shocking digital divide it's creating, look at the real human cost of all this, and finally ask the big question: how do we even begin to redesign justice for this new digital age?
So, let's set the stage. The American legal profession is split right down the middle by this massive economic chasm. Seriously, it's a great divide that basically determines who can get what kind of legal help.
Check out this number. Back in 2014, partners at the big, fancy law firms were earning, on average, 7 times more than lawyers who were just practicing on their own. And get this, that gap has nearly tripled since 1967. We're not talking about a small gap here. This is a canyon.
And this slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. On one side, you've got big law. They're the ones serving huge corporations in these high-stakes cases where millions, even billions, are on the table. And on the other side, you've got people law. These are your solo lawyers, your small firms, helping regular folks with things like divorces, wills, or landlord problems. Their average income has actually gone down in real dollars over the last 50 years. And the result of that? A huge crisis in access to justice for the very people who need it the most.
Okay, so into this already deeply divided world, a powerful new player enters the game: legal technology. And it's poised to just completely disrupt everything we thought we knew about how law is practiced.
Which, of course, brings us to the absolute core question of this whole explainer. Are all these new digital tools going to level the playing field and make justice more accessible for everybody? Or are they just going to become another weapon for the rich and powerful, making that canyon between them even wider? To answer that, you really have to look at the tools themselves. Because, as it turns out, the two sides of this legal divide are fighting with completely different tech arsenals. It's not even a fair fight.
So in the world of big law, one of the biggest guns is something called technology-assisted review, or TAR for short. The best way to think about it is like a super smart AI that can comb through millions of emails, documents, and chat logs in a massive lawsuit to find that one key piece of evidence, the smoking gun, way, way faster than any team of human lawyers ever could.
So how does this magic actually work? Well, it's basically a three-step process. First, a couple of human lawyers look at a small sample of documents, the seed set, and they tell the AI, okay, this one is relevant, this one is not. Then, step 2. The AI studies those choices and starts to learn the patterns. And finally, the AI takes what it's learned and just goes to town, instantly classifying millions of other documents all by itself. It's incredibly powerful stuff.
So when you zoom out, the picture becomes really clear. Big Law's arsenal is packed with sophisticated, data-hungry AI like TAR. Meanwhile, the tech available to People Law is, well, a lot simpler. We're talking about tools that automate paperwork or online platforms for handling basic disputes. They're helpful, for sure, but they're just not in the same league.
But here is the most crucial insight of this whole thing. The real game-changing advantage here isn't actually the software. It's the fuel that makes the software run. It's the data. This gives them an almost unbeatable advantage. They can predict how a case is likely to turn out with startling accuracy. So what do? They quietly settle the cases they think they might lose, and they only go to court with the ones they're pretty sure they're going to win. This creates what some have called a litigation of losers, where the public law we all see being made is shaped almost entirely by cases that the powerful already knew they had in the bag.
So, this data advantage tilts the entire playing field before a case even gets started. But the inequality doesn't stop there. What about the technology that's changing how everyday people actually experience the justice system, like the big shift to remote court hearings? Well, this has kicked off a massive debate about the human cost of tech and whether we're losing something really important when justice is delivered through a screen. And when you actually dig into the research on this dehumanization effect, the picture is, well, it's complicated. Sure, some studies suggested that asylum seekers were denied more often over video, but a lot of those studies weren't randomized, so it's hard to be sure.
What we do know from controlled experiments is that we see people as less likable, less trustworthy on video. We lose all those tiny nonverbal cues, the body language, the tone of voice, that build a sense of connection and empathy. The jury's still out on the exact legal impact, but the risk is really clear. Are we accidentally building a justice system that's more efficient but also a lot less human? So all of this brings us to our final and maybe our most important question. As technology gets deeper and deeper into our justice system, who's writing the code? Who's the one deciding what a digital courtroom should actually look and feel like?
This quote from legal scholar Stephen Yazel just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the problem for people law. You can go online and get a market price for a used car in seconds, but there's no public database that tells you the average settlement for, say, a personal injury claim. You're just flying blind.
And not at the end of the day, that's what this all boils down to. In this new age of law, data is everything. The side with the most data, the side that can train the smartest algorithms, is the side that gets to set the price of justice before the other side even walks in the door.
So we're left with this one nagging question. Is all this amazing technology actually building a more just world for everyone? Or is it just creating a faster, more efficient system for the people who can already afford to win? As we write the code for the future of justice, that is the one question we absolutely cannot afford to get wrong.